It was Eala is the match that I was looking at, and there was people like
They mostly went my way, so yeah, that was good.
living that same experience, but hopefully the event kind of continues to.
The WTA had the fastest rising star in women's tennis, a 20-year-old filling stadiums across 3 continents, breaking records that had stood for decades, and single-handedly dragging millions of new fans into the sport. A phenomenon, a once-in-a-generation story. And they put her on court 6, a small, inadequate, embarrassing little court, while hundreds of her fans stood locked outside the gates with nowhere to go. That wasn't a mistake, that was a statement, and the statement was clear. The WTA did not understand what they had. Or worse, they understood perfectly and just didn't care. But that's not even the worst of it, because while Alex Eala was being disrespected on one side, the WTA was busy doing something even more unbelievable on the other. They took one of their own champions, a player who had just battled her way to a major final, and they photoshopped her body, edited her waist, erased part of her arm, posted it publicly like it was nothing. And when Jessica Pegula saw it, she didn't stay quiet. She went straight to social media and let them have it. The players are done staying silent, the fans are done making excuses, and the WTA is about to find out exactly what happens when you disrespect the wrong people. If you think the WTA owes both of these players a serious apology, hit that subscribe button because this story is only getting bigger. Let's start with Melbourne, the Australian Open, the first Grand Slam of 2026, one of the most prestigious tennis events on the planet, and the stage where the WTA made a decision so tone-deaf, so completely disconnected from reality that fans are still talking about it weeks later. Thousands of Filipino supporters had made the journey to Melbourne Park, not just local Australians of Filipino descent. People who had planned this trip specifically around one player. They had bought tickets, arranged travel, taken time off work, and when they arrived and asked where Alex Eala was playing, they were pointed toward Court 6. Not Rod Laver Arena, not Margaret Court Arena, Court 6, one of the smallest, most tucked-away venues in the entire complex. A court with seating capacity so far below the demand that hundreds of fans never made it inside at all. They stood in queues that went nowhere. They pressed against barriers trying to catch a glimpse of what was happening on the other side. Some of them had never attended a professional tennis event before in their lives. This was supposed to be their moment. The WTA turned it into a locked door. The reaction online was immediate and it was savage. Fans called the decision dumb. They said the WTA had no excuse. One supporter wrote that to make this mistake once was unforgivable and to ever repeat it would be criminal. And what made it genuinely infuriating was the context. This was not a surprise. Eala's ability to draw enormous crowds had been on full display since Miami 2025. Every tournament she entered, the same thing happened. Packed houses, electricity in the air. An entirely new audience showing up to women's tennis for the first time. The data was there, the evidence was overwhelming. The WTA had every reason in the world to see this coming, and absolutely no excuse for getting it so catastrophically wrong. But they weren't done, because Dubai came next. And in Dubai, the WTA handed Eala a new kind of disrespect. One that was quieter, but somehow even more frustrating. When Eala reached the quarterfinals to face Coco Gauff, organizers moved her match to open the night session rather than close it. To anyone not paying close attention, that sounds like a minor scheduling detail. It wasn't. Filipino fans watching from home were now staring at a start time of 11 p.m. local time in the Philippines. If the match before Eala's ran long, she wouldn't step on court until well past midnight. Millions of the most passionate, most engaged, most commercially valuable supporters in the entire sport were being asked to sacrifice their sleep just to watch their player compete. And when Eala's match eventually ended and those fans switched off their screens, Alina Svitolina walked out for her quarterfinal to a stadium that was barely half full. A former world number 3, a 4-time WTA 1000 champion, playing one of the biggest matches of her tournament in an arena that felt deserted. Not because people didn't care about Svitolina, because the WTA had completely misread the room and scheduled themselves into an embarrassing situation that didn't need to happen. Here is what makes all of this so difficult to comprehend. The numbers surrounding Eala are not subtle. They are not open to interpretation. In fan polls conducted during this period, 79% of supporters chose Eala over Gauff. 89% chose her over Raducanu. After beating Eala in Dubai, Gauff stood at the microphone during her post-match interview and publicly credited her opponent for bringing an entirely new demographic to the sport. Not a journalist saying it, not an analyst saying it. The world number 4, in her winning press conference, pointing to the player she had just eliminated and acknowledging what she was doing for women's tennis. When your rivals are giving speeches about your impact after beating you, you are operating on a different level entirely. The WTA had a player capable of generating that kind of reaction and kept finding new ways to mishandle her. And then came Jessica Pegula, and what the WTA did to her was something else entirely. Pegula had just delivered one of the performances of her Dubai campaign. Down a set and a break against Amanda Anisimova in the semi-final, she clawed her way back point by point, absorbed everything her opponent threw at her, and turned the match completely on its head to reach her first ever Dubai final. She was hours away from playing for a major title, focused, prepared, ready. And the WTA decided that was the right moment to post a promotional graphic on their official social media account featuring Pegula alongside her final opponent. Except what appeared in that image looked nothing like the real Jessica Pegula. Her waist had been dramatically altered, part of her arm had been digitally erased. The editing was so obvious, so careless, so completely unchecked before it went live to millions of followers that it almost defied belief. Pegula didn't whisper about it in a private group chat. She went directly to the comments section and called it out in front of everyone. She questioned what had happened to her body. She pointed out the missing arm. She made it clear, with humor but with absolute seriousness underneath, that this was not acceptable. Madison Keys responded immediately. Jennifer Brady joined in. Within hours, the post had gone viral for all the wrong reasons. The WTA quietly deleted it, replaced it with a corrected version, and said absolutely nothing. No apology to Pegula, no public statement, no acknowledgement that they had altered a professional athlete's appearance without her knowledge and distributed it to the world. Just silence and the hope that everyone would forget. Women's tennis fans did not forget. Because altering someone's body in an official promotional image is not a minor editing error. It sends a message. It says that the organization responsible for promoting these athletes does not fully respect them as they are. It says that someone, somewhere in that workflow, looked at an image of a professional athlete in peak physical condition and decided it needed to be changed. And then no one caught it, no one flagged it, no one thought to check before hitting post. That is not just careless. That is a systemic failure of basic standards. What happened next is the part of this story that the WTA should be most embarrassed about. Because Pegula, the player they had just publicly embarrassed, walked into her champion's press conference after winning the Dubai title and used her platform to talk about Alex Eala. She praised her impact on the sport. She talked about the passion of her fan base. She said she wanted her as a podcast guest. She called watching Eala's rise something genuinely special. A champion on the biggest stage of her week, lifting up another player and shining a light on everything that was right about women's tennis. While the organization supposedly running women's tennis was busy deleting Photoshopped images and hoping nobody noticed. The players get it, the fans get it, Gauff gets it, Pegula gets it. The only ones who keep proving they don't get it are the people making the decisions at the top. And until that changes, moments like Court 6 and the Dubai Photoshop aren't going to be isolated incidents. They are going to keep happening, and the players are going to keep calling them out. If the WTA's incompetence has you as frustrated as it has everyone else, drop a comment below and subscribe because this conversation is far from over.